Hi, my name is Arne Pedersen from Awareness in Health, and I'm a hypnotherapist, an energy healer, and a spiritual mindfulness teacher. And today's episode, we're still working on the theme of chronic pain, and I want to touch on a topic of our spirit. What is chronic pain here for? Perhaps our spirit is wanting to strengthen us in some way. Perhaps there's a change, that a part of ourself that our spirit is wanting us to see, and our chronic pain is the only motivator that will take us there. Pain is a huge motivator, and I've got to tell you, for me personally, what I do right now, I help people, and my whole life is really about just understanding my inner self and shedding illusions of how much I was caught in my head thinking life was the way that it was, and being really, really unhappy and just stuck on old programs and old unrealistic expectations and old negative self-beliefs and negative thoughts in my head that just controlled my life. And I was afraid everywhere that I went. And now I'm in a place in my life where I really love my life. And I help people to move through these kind of challenges themselves, to find the light of who they really are. And it was chronic pain that actually took me here. If it wasn't for the pain that I went through in my 20s and my 30s, that I wouldn't be here doing this. I wouldn't be doing this for a living. And I would just be doing something, just stuck in some old dead-end job, something, being really unhappy, and I would have just continued doing that and just following the same old thing. When I was younger, I had so much emotional pain that growing up, that I was very very emotionally empathic, very sensitive, and I picked up a lot of energy from other people. I was very intuitively empathic, and I didn't know what to do with the emotions that I was feeling. I wasn't taught about emotions. I was basically taught hold it in and then blow up and get angry when it builds up to too much. And there was so much pain going on inside of me emotionally and mentally. It built up over the years that I just hid it, and I got really good at just pretending, just pushing it down, pretending everything was okay. But inside, I felt completely alone, and I thought I was the only person that ever felt this kind of thing. And it was interesting that didn't motivate me to change. It just kept me stuck in this place of fear, just over and over and over thinking to myself, like, why me, all these bad things in life that just kept happening, all these bad circumstances that just kept coming into my life, and people wanting to do things to me, take from me and hurt me, and all of these things. And I just stayed in that until finally my body started to manifest physically what I was feeling emotionally, and that started to really get my attention when I started having constant pain, and when I had these issues with my back that led into other joint problems in my body. It was 24 hours a day, significant pain, and it wouldn't go away for years. It took over 10 years for me to finally understand how to heal this pain, but that got my attention. And eventually what happened is I moved through it. But there was a really huge event that happened to me, that one day I just had a breakdown. It was just too much stuff built up all at once, and I finally just broke down, and I started hitting myself in the head as hard as I could, and I was leaning down and bending over, and I started hitting my head on the ground, and I just completely lost it. And everything built up to such a point, I just didn't know what to do anymore. And through this, all of a sudden, I was hurting myself, and there was so much pain. I was trying to hit my head on the floor to try and make the pain go away. And suddenly, I just stopped. Something happened to me, and I just gave up. I just couldn't do it anymore. I just didn't want to do my life anymore. I just gave up. And something happened in that moment. I actually said out loud, I actually prayed for the first time, and I prayed for help. And I asked for help. I prayed, please help me. And interestingly, in that moment, something happened that changed my life forever. That all of a sudden, I saw my grandmother, Doreen. She was there. And this was really confusing in a way, because she had passed away years before, and it was really, really close to her. But she was just there, and all of a sudden I just saw her face, and she was just surrounded by light, and I just felt this warmth. And she looked at me, And she said, "I love you, dear. Everything's going to be okay." And she said that, and all of a sudden I just felt something release and something change in me, and I was able to just keep going. And I found some strength, something in me that somehow helped me through what I needed to go through. And through this process, just shortly after, and I didn't realize what was going on at the time, but the whole way I looked at life, the whole structure of how I looked at myself and how I fit into the world completely shattered, because I was basically raised as an atheist. And at that moment in time, you see, my grandmother, my dad's side, and my grandfather there, and then my grandfather on my mom's side, when they passed away, I felt something. I grieved their loss. But when Doreen passed away, I could never understand. I felt bad that I never felt anything. I never felt bad. I never grieved. And I couldn't explain that. But after that day when I saw her, I realized that was because she had never left. She had never left. Her body may have left, but her spirit was still there. And it has always been there with me no matter where I was. And she was very close to me. And she gave me the most powerful gifts in life. She taught me unconditional love. She loved me completely as I was. No expectations, no conditions on that. Just complete love. And that day, what happened is I was no longer an atheist. Suddenly, this new world just opened up, where suddenly the spirit world opened up. And I realized I was more than my body. I realized for the first time in my life, I actually wasn't alone. And I always thought that I was. I was alone in what I was feeling, what I was suffering. And this completely shattered this old paradigm, this old belief, and it fell away. And it allowed me to move in a direction to finally start to learn whole healing, to learn how to really, truly love myself. And for me, that was the most life-changing moment that I had ever had. And I had had so many life-changing moments along the way, but it brought me to a place where I realized that chronic pain is actually what saved me. It's actually what helped me find myself, because pain, it motivated me to change enough to look at things differently and to be willing to look into the unknown. And I'm incredibly grateful for that experience. And I'm incredibly grateful for the pain that I experienced, because it allowed me to understand myself in ways I couldn't before. So whoever's watching here, if you're experiencing chronic pain, maybe there's a deeper part of you, the essence of who you are, your spirit, calling to you to strengthen you. Maybe there's some purpose, whoever you need to become through this pain. I suggest you look into that and figure out what that is, because something inside of you is bringing you a message with this pain. If we're stuck in chronic pain, it's the biggest motivator that there is, this kind of pain that just doesn't go away. And so when we can go into it, we can go into ourselves and use it to strengthen ourselves and find out who we can become from that pain, what that pain motivates us to learn about ourselves, what it motivates us to do, to learn, to want to live healthy and free of that pain and feel good about ourselves again. That's what today's about. What is your pain bringing to you? So really, I want you to contemplate that. And please leave a comment, and if you have a story, share it. And I'd really love to hear what your pain is really bringing to you. If you're really calling, if you're really called to make some change in your life, if there's something you can just feel that has been building for a while, because maybe there's an old way of being, an old way of looking at yourself, an old way of looking at the world and how you fit into the world. Maybe that's ready to fall away and a new you is ready to emerge. That's what the pain could be. But I want you to just pose that question. What is the pain motivating you to do? Who are you being prepped to become? Who are you being strengthened to become? And just really think about that. So I want to leave you with that today. And next week, it's about this whole section on chronic pain. I'm going to tie it all together and recap all of the main points that we saw, just so that everything is all congruent and it's something that makes sense. It just helps you move on to the next section. And I really hope you enjoyed this today, and I hope everybody's well today, and I hope you have a wonderful rest of your day. And thank you for watching.